sort of a slow boil film, which this is. So I believe that a movie in the beginning should feel a little different than it does at the end.
Mommy?
So everything becomes faster at the end of the movie. All the moves are faster, all the editing becomes faster.
Editing a psychological thriller is all timing.
Marker. Set. Action.
Stretching the moments that have to be stretched.
And shoot.
Going fast where you need to go really fast.
I'm right here. Hold on.
And you've got to know that intuitively. If you don't know it intuitively, you can never get it right.
It needs to be a ride, but if it's unrelenting and you can't catch your breath, it's going to tire you out.
Well, the therapist scene probably was one of the trickiest scenes in the film.
That's a scene that you can't rush.
Action.
Your husband, David. Can you tell me about him?
I don't know you.
Those answers had to be really drawn out of her, so you could put like a pause and a pause and a pause and a pause.
Was he very unhappy?
Yes. He was unhappy. But he didn't. I didn't know. He didn't talk about it like that.
Sound is extremely important, especially in a slow boil movie, because you can tweak the atmosphere, and you can put us just where we need to be as the audience, and you can further keep them off kilter.
By the time the plane lands in Goose Bay, the key point for me was the shot when she walks out onto the top of the exit ramp. What we tried to do is create the sense that there's this whole universe that's about ready to come down on Kyle.
All units, incident command. The suspect will be escorted off the plane by a flight marshal.
That she's in the crosshairs at that point.
Standing by to provide transport.
Elements that were really key were the radio calls.
Status of suspect. Subject is called battle 050 meters.
The wind. And then helicopters, I think, really played an important role in that, too, because we had them constantly moving around the theaters if they're circling.
Carson! You get off the plane when I say you get off the plane.
Just the subtle use of sound can really help to ratchet up the pressure.
All right, everyone, please place your mask over your nose and mouth. Breathe normally.
They're tangled up. They're tangled up.
Robert was really committed to making sure that this plane did not feel safe.
Marker.
Robert's intention was that every time we're in that cargo hold, you don't know if something's going to break loose. Plus the contrast of the different regions of the plane. There's the attic above, which actually we kind of came up with almost more of a dentist drill kind of feel for it. I think when the interaction between sound effects and music is working best, it's almost like a dance.
For your patience, the captain has turned off the seatbelt sign. You are now free to move about the cabin.
Sound effects become sort of part of the music, and the music is part of the sound effects. And there's always this sort of trade-off. Sound effects versus the emotion and drive that the music can give. There's no way around that. There are lots of scenes where the director has moved in very close to Jodie Foster's face, and you sort of really get a feeling of the kind of chaos that she's going through in her head.
I know I've seen him before.
I know I've seen you before!
What I don't know what you're talking
You were
about.
looking through a window last night. I saw you.
So a lot of the instruments that I've chosen are instruments that give you the feeling of this sort of panic in her nervous system, as no one will believe her. I'd look for unusual colors. I used a Balvanese gamelan instrument. And I used prepared piano, where the strings of the piano are all sort of stuck with stuff to make weird notes.
Shouldn't we move this to one of the galleys?
Why should I have to move? I didn't do anything.
The strings are good for not only propulsion, but it's also great emotion and warmth. We had no brass instruments. It was all strings and percussion. Woodwinds. I'm a storyteller, and more or less in the food chain of the filmmaking process, I'm the last guy that gets a crack at helping the story before it goes out to the audience to watch. The music, like the editing, ultimately is probably the last place where you make an emotional contribution to the film.
I'm very, very happy with how everything is paced out and how everything is put together.
There's something about the first time you do playback of a reel. You've got the sound effects just the way you want it. You've got the music just the way you want it. There's just such a satisfying feeling. It's like, this is a movie. This is now a movie.
Mommy. Hey. Hey. Are we there yet?